Director of Career and Technical Education for Hoover City Schools and the Director of the River Chase Career Connection Center that we affectionately call RC3. Hoover City Schools is proud to provide 10 different career and technical education programs offered at 3 different locations. Hoover High School and Spain Park High School have wonderful engineering, family and consumer science, cooperative education, and business programs. Additionally, Hoover High School is home to the district's Air Force JROTC program. RC3 has 5 additional CTE academies: health science, culinary and hospitality, fire and emergency services, skilled trades, and cyber innovation. Currently, there are 1,654 10th through 12th grade students enrolled in a career tech course in Hoover City Schools. Tonight, I would like to share just a few highlights with you in honor of Career and Technical Education Month. This year's theme is Celebrate Today, Own Tomorrow. Hoover High School's Air Force JROTC hosted the first ever Hoover Invitational Drill Competition, which will become an annual event. Under the leadership of Colonel James Moulton and Master Sergeant Grant Gibson, our Air Force JROTC is truly the best of the best. The top JROTC drill programs in the state participated in this event, which included Enterprise, Bob Jones, Hazel Green, Greenville, Huntsville, Southern Preparatory Academy, Sparkman, Hillcrest, Lee New, Century, and Hoover High School. Over 300 cadets from those teams competed in 8 separate events. The Hoover team did extremely well. Since we were the hosts, we were not eligible to compete for overall champion. However, we placed first in armed regulation flight platoon drill, second in armed regulation squad drill, and third in both unarmed competition color guard and unarmed regulation squad drill. 2 of our cadets earned individual accolades. Nia Settles placed second in unarmed regulation squad command, and James Mwinga placed third in armed regulation squad command. Business Academy teachers Jerry Kimball, Glenette Munkus, Rebecca Mercer, Shelley Pewitt, Trey Matlock, and Heidi Caveras have been hard at work with our students. The Business Academy students have attended the Joint Leadership Development Conference in October and the Ultimate DECA Power Trip in Boston in November. Additionally, Hoover DECA chapter earned the Thrive Level Honors in December, and the Buckstop earned DECA Gold recertification in January. There's so much going on in Hoover's Business Academy classrooms. Students are earning certifications, completing real-world projects, and serving the community. Jill Westerland and Tiffany Lynn have an amazing cooperative education program at Hoover High School. Their co-op students worked or volunteered a total of 22,903 hours during the first semester. The economic impact of these students' work during the fall semester was at a minimum of $207,224. Cooperative education teacher Jill Bertella held Spain Park High School's first outdoor job fair. Employers and Spain Park High School students took full advantage of a sunny afternoon in October to participate. This event had over 40 companies on site to discuss their businesses with the student body. It was a great success, and we look forward to having it again next year. RC3 is grateful to have Chef Chris Villa and Chef Alethea Carter lead RC3's Culinary and Hospitality Academy. This academy is truly making a difference in the community. From serving at Denim and Dining, to Hoover Health fundraisers, to hosting its first masquerade ball, the service and food quality from this academy is outstanding. Let's celebrate the following senior acceptance and major declarations as of January 27, 2022. Stephanie Motley has been accepted to the Culinary Institute of America in Culinary Management. Sierra Ford has been accepted to Jefferson State Community College for baking and pastry. Adam Corley has been accepted to Jefferson State Community College and has had a culinary apprenticeship. Katie Logan has been accepted to the University of North Alabama for hospitality management. And Kevin Marshall has been accepted to Jefferson State Community College for the culinary apprenticeship. I'm also proud to report that all culinary students have earned credentials in both the NRAEF ServSafe Conflict Management and COVID protocol. Under the direction of Lieutenant Jeff Otwell and Lieutenant Landon Johnson, the Fire and Emergency Services Academy has a lot to be proud of. Just over 94% of the students in this academy have earned credentials, which include BLS provider, CPR with the American Heart Association, FEMA National Incident Management System training, and the coveted State of Alabama Volunteer Firefighter certification. We're also proud to share that 5 of our former students are now full-time firefighters and serve Hoover, Birmingham, Auburn, and Rocky Ridge fire departments. Finally, on January 20th, 2022, 35 RC3 students of high academic standing, excellent leadership, and outstanding character made history as they were inducted into the very first chapter of the National Technical Honor Society in our district. Tonight, NTHS members Tandon Hun, Emma Jolly, Morgan Jolly, Malachi Moigan, Sia Patel, Deanna Ramirez, Jordan Steele, Katie Sweats, and Lizzie Underwood are here representing this prestigious group. Students, you can join me now. These amazing students will accept the proclamation on behalf of Career and Technical Education in Hoover City Schools. Thank you for your support.
Good evening. On behalf of the RC3 chapter of the National Technical Honor Society, I would like to thank the Hoover City Schools Board of Education for recognizing this month as Career and Technical Education. Career and technical education is so important because it gives us the academic, technical, and employability skills to succeed in the workplace. I would also like to thank all of the RC3 staff, including our director, Dr. Deborah Smith, for giving us the tools and opportunities to thrive in all of our future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. And everyone that's a part of the proclamations and the board recognitions, please wait until the end of the recognitions and meet me in the hallway to take your pictures. Okay, so the next proclamation is for Be Kind Week and Pink Shirt Day, which is actually next week. Candace Van Wanderham, Hoover City Schools Mental Health and Student Services Specialist, will speak about Be Kind Week, and some Spade Park High and Hoover High School students with the Hoover City Schools Foundation Student Board will come up to accept the proclamation.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Dr. Fowler. You know, Hoover City Schools strives every day to stand up against bullying and to practice kindness. This just happens to be the week that we celebrate it. And we also thank the city of Hoover and our community partners for celebrating with us. We could not do it without our kids. There would not be a successful effort without our students every day. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'd like Zara to come up and speak about the week.
Hey guys, my name is Zara Burdite and I am a senior at Spade Park High School. Kindness can be shown in many ways, by making someone smile, by doing community service, or by even just asking someone how their day was. Be Kind Week is to create opportunities in different schools in the Hoover City school system in order to serve and spread awareness in the community. During this epidemic or pandemic, We have had this time to self-develop and to start kindness to ourselves, whether it be by making new and dietary healthy adjustments in our life, or taking out the time to help others during this crucial time. Personally, I would feel sometimes drained after work. However, whenever my students hug me and just tell me that thank you for helping me learn in the classroom, it would make me feel really fulfilled. I'm really grateful and thanking my executive director, Ms. Shelley Shaw, and the Hoover Board of Education for creating this Hoover City Schools Foundation and for creating this Be Kindness Week in the Hoover City school system. Kindness can start from making someone's day to changing someone's lives. Thank you.
Next week, Tuesday, February 15th, is National School Resource Officer Appreciation Day. And we certainly appreciate all of our SROs for keeping our schools and our students safe. And Officer Lee Love with Bumpus Middle School, the SRO here, will accept the proclamation. Officer Love.
Sorry, I was in the cheap seats. First, I'd like to thank the Superintendent, School Board, City of Hoover Police Department, and the city itself for recognizing the National School Resource Officers Appreciation Day. School resource officers are specifically trained and properly equipped full-time law enforcement officers sworn to enforce with enforcement authority, trained in in-school-based law enforcement crisis response, assigned by the City of Hoover to work inside the schools using community-oriented policing techniques. Our unit is a very senior unit. All the SROs combined, we have over 400 years of police experience. The Hoover SRO unit is trained in the NASRO, the National Association of School Resource Officers triad concept. We are educators, informal counselors, and law enforcement officers. The concept works especially well due to the administration being partners with the police officers assigned to their schools. We bridge the gap. We let the kids know that we're human. We are here to help. We try to make them know to come to us if they need help. So we want to establish that relationship, and it is a relationship. We try to negate the pipeline to jail concept that used to be, and I think we have. I think people recognize that we are here to help, and have no doubt our job is to protect these kids, is to protect the faculty, the administration, the building. And I have no doubt that any single person in our unit would not even hesitate to lay down their lives for these kids. As a position of the SRO, the city is highly sought after position, and due to its great part because of the working relationship between Hoover Police Department and Hoover City School System. So thank you very much.
This week is National School Counseling Week, a time to recognize school counselors for serving our schools in ways designed to help students reach their full potential. Our final proclamation will be accepted by Helen Young. Helen, and Ms. Terry Coleman.
On behalf of all of the patient, creative, caring, compassionate, professional counselors in Hoover City Schools, I want to say thank you. I happen to bring our Alabama 2022 Counselor of the Year.
So thank you all for taking a moment to acknowledge your school counselors. They are the heart of your schools, and we really, really love what we do. So we appreciate this honor.
Okay, now it's time for the recognitions. There are several, but we're gonna get through these as quickly as possible. They're all very important, and we want y'all to know about our amazing students and teachers here at Hoover City Schools. So our first recognition tonight is for the Spain Park High School Art Club that recently participated in a very sweet and international art project. So I want you to watch this video. It's very short, about a minute and a half, so you can learn a little bit about the memory project. Did I say an hour? A minute and a half.
I started the memory project in 2004 with the hope of building kindness and understanding between youth and different cultures. The original idea was to invite art students to create portraits for children living in orphanages as a special memory of childhood. Since then, thanks to teachers like you, these efforts have grown and expanded in many different ways. Advanced art students now create portraits for children facing many types of challenges around the world, and the portraits honor their unique identities and celebrate their inner strengths. We also invite students of all ages and abilities to create what we call inspiration art for the children based on positive words that they share about themselves, which is meant to support their sense of confidence and self-esteem. We ask all art students to put photos of themselves on back of the art so that each child can see the person who is thinking and caring about them. Then we collect all the portraits and inspiration art from all of our participating schools, and we deliver it to the children in each country together. But even though this is an international project, it is fundamentally grassroots. I work out of this small workshop attached to my garage, and teachers like you work with students in your classroom. You can sign up with any number of students, and I will email you photos of a corresponding number of children on our waiting list. You can participate during any month of the school year on a time frame that works best for your schedule. So please get in touch with any questions and know that we would love to have you involved. Thank you very much.
So that's what the art club participated in, and now I want to have Ms. Franklin, Spain Park High School's visual arts teacher, come forward and talk about our students.
Hello, thank you guys. So this is the Spain Park Art Club, or a handful of the Spain Park Art Club. We've been really fortunate this year to have a lot of students join us, and several participated in this project. We started the project in August, just to kind of get the ball rolling with the art club. And most of these kids did the work on their own free time, which I think is really, really impactful, that they took their own time to make these really meaningful portraits for children that they had never met. So I'm going to show you some of the pictures of what the kids created. And some of these are inspiration pieces, so the kids got a list of words that they were able to use to create these not representational portraits. All right, so one over. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, and now we're going to recognize some Hoover City Schools student athletes. First is Spain Park High School's bowling teams. Spain Park boys bowling team won first place in the Class 6A, 7A state championship. Coach Hobbs will speak about his team, and Coach Hawkins will speak about her team's third place win.
I'll go first. Hi, everybody. This is our girls bowling team. We're the largest team in the state, and they had 20 wins. We won the region, made it all the way to state, and came up just short, but super proud. It was the best ending in school history. Emma Hawkins, she ended up, she was the third highest bowler in the state in 6A, 7A, and she had a school record of 244. So.
And these are the state champion boys bowling team. So, this is state park. Bowling's only been in existence as a high school sport for 7 years. And so this is our third state championship. We're the only boys bowling team with multiple state championships. Hoover has developed itself as a leader in bowling, as we got to bowl against Hoover in the finals. And thank God we won, but it's always a good day. No rivalry between the two. But what's kind of unique is that Hoover's coach was my student the very first year at Spain Park when the school just opened, when he was a 9th grader. And I don't know how I'm that old, but he is now doing a great job over at Hoover developing that program. But I don't want to give special recognition. This is my assistant coach, Miss Lillian Singleton. She is a complete volunteer coach. She doesn't get any money, but she comes to practice. She loves the kids. She loves the sport. And we would not be where we are without her by our side, really just kind of leading the way. So we appreciate her service to our kids. And so I just want to introduce, you got Luke Belmont. We have okay, Michael Kimball, Luke Eaton, Liam Hilson, Lucas Mitchell, and then Cole Henson is this individual state champion. He bowled a 683, 680 something total 3-game series with a high of 246. And so congratulations to him. So we have the individual winner and the team winner. We have senior Russell Parton and Ethan Lee at the end there. So congratulations to these guys. They worked hard.
All right, now it's Hoover High School's time. Hoover High School's bowling team, the boys team, finished second in the state. Coach Edgar could not make it tonight, so Coach Jemison, the girls bowling coach, will come forward and talk about the boys team as well as her team. Her girls finished third in the area.
So good afternoon. Thank you all so much for inviting us here. First of all, I want to say these young men, I've had the opportunity to be with them for the last 2 years, and this is a great group of young men. They're working hard at it. They're great student athletes. 2 years in a row, we finished second place, but Spain Park, watch your back. we coming for you, okay? And we're serious about it. No jokes aside, okay? AJ Nelson is our only senior we have on this team, so we see we'll be returning 6 players for next year. Also want to say to Alex Lee, Carter, and also Connor Davis they made the top 10. So congratulations to those young men, and just proud of what you all keep doing. Keep working hard, and you'll see us here next year with a different trophy. And quickly, I wanted to say for these are the girls team. This year was probably our best year, and I say this honestly to them. we hadn't won much in girls bowling. And so this year when we won, it was just kind of like, we were all sitting there like, we won. And so their confidence level went up. I'm so proud of you young ladies. We're only losing 2 seniors, Riley and also Raven. So we appreciate all the leadership that you all brought to this team this year. But again, look out. Bowling's coming back. We want to thank Andy Irvin and Mr. Montgomery for all your support. Thank you.
All right, we want to recognize some middle school student athletes. Last month was the state indoor track meet for the middle schools, and all 3 of our middle school track teams did very well. First, Coach Patterson. Did Coach Patterson make it, Ms. Burke? Awesome. So Coach Patterson and Ms. Burke will come up to recognize the girls and boys teams for winning 1st and 2nd place, respectively, in the competition. And then afterwards, Bumpus, you'll come up, Coach Belcher with Simmons will come up, and then Barry's Coach Streeter will come up. So you guys kind of come back one after the other.
Good evening. I'm glad you all came out to Bumpus to celebrate us tonight. I'm Donna Burke, principal here, and before we go on, I do want to recognize what it takes to put something on like this. Our assistant principal, Sean Colosimo, Justin Jones, and Ms. Pamela Davis, they're here. They helped set this up. Our technology integration coach, Caroline Morris, and our choral director, Ms. Lindsay Walker, and we're all in Miss Mims' room because Ms. Mims is Dana Mims is our media specialist here. So thank y'all for coming to join us at Bumpus. I do want to recognize our team tonight. We have our indoor state championship. We had our girls that placed 1st and our boys that placed 2nd. Coach Devin Patterson is our first-year teacher with us. He's amazing. You'll see what he's done with these folks, and I guarantee you he'll be back here celebrating this again. If not with us, he may go on to further things that we have in mind.
All right, well, good evening. First off, I want to say thank you to Principal Burke and the rest of the administration here at Bumpus Middle School. I also want to say thank you to the Hoover City Board of Education for allowing our team to be recognized for their amazing accomplishments this year for indoor track and field. Our athletes gave 100% day in and day out, and I'm just very blessed and thankful that I was able to call myself the coach of this great team. So at this time, I'll recognize some of our athletes. First, Andrew Wheeler, 8th grader. He plays 1st place in the 4x2 relay for our boys. Jamison Coleman, 8th grade, 1st place in the state for the 400 meter. John Parker Ware, 8th grade, 1st place in the 4x2 relay. DeAndre Clay, 8th grade, 1st place, 4x2 relay. Destiny Uday, 7th grader, 1st place in the state for the 4x2 relay for girls. Nael Settles, 8th grade, 1st place in high jump, 1st place in the girls 4x2 relay. And also, Nael was able to go to the varsity and compete with Hoover High School for the state championship, and she got 3rd place for the varsity meets. Peyton James, 7th grade, 3rd place in girls high jump, 1st place in girls 4x2 relay. Daisy Luna, 8th grade, 1st place in girls 400 meter, 1st place in girls 4x2 relay. And also Daisy Luna was able to go to the high school and compete for Hoover, and she received 1st place in the 400 meter dash for the varsity level. Next, we have Nigel Thomas, 7th grade, 2nd in state for the boys shot put. We have Hannah McCulley, 8th grade, Haley McCulley, 8th grade, and also Norman Settles in 8th grade. So thank you so much for allowing us to be here.
Got to gather them all. Good evening, I'm Coach Belcher. This is my 4th year at Simmons. This is our first time coming here. We had our best ever finish as the girls team. We were runner-up to Bumpus, which I know some people have more of a rivalry, but for me, I think it's good for the high school that you were able to work together and help Coach Schmidt at the high school to be in this position where they can win a state championship, which they did on the boys and girls level. These 3 ladies won medals at the championship. We have Brooke Cochran, who was 2nd place in 60-meter hurdles, which is an event she didn't even start until after Christmas. Then we have Alyssa Hurt. She was 3rd in the shot put. And we have Deasia Harrell, who not only was 2nd in the long jump, she also competed with the high school and was able to make all-state and scored in both the long and the triple jump and helping the girls win their state title last week at the high school. So we had a really successful year, and hopefully we'll be able to build on that for outdoor. Thank you.
Did Dr. Turney make it? Dr. Alice Turney? Yes, she's coming up now. We want to wish Dr. Turney the very best of luck. She is vying for the National Distinguished Principal Award for Alabama, and she is currently one of the top 3 finalists. A panel of judges visited the schools of the finalists last week, and the winner will be announced in early spring. The winner of the Alabama National Distinguished Principal Award will get an office makeover. So congratulations to Dr. Turney for getting this far in the competition, and we wish you the best of luck. You're so welcome. And on to the 2022 Teachers in the Trenches Character Award winners. Hoover City Schools Chief Learning Officer, Dr. Chris Robbins, will come up to tell you about the 3 winners. Oh, we skipped one. We skipped one. Can I get Cameron his certificate? I'm so sorry. Come on up, Ms. Reader.
Good evening. I'm Darlene Streeter, and I'm the head track and field coach at Berry Middle School. We're here with our principal, Dr. Robbins. And first I want to say that our team didn't place, but we worked extraordinarily hard. The kids were very dedicated, they practiced, and we had many gold qualifiers that PR, and they just were outstanding. But the young man I have here with me tonight is an 8th grade student at Berry Middle School, student athlete, and his name is Cameron Bowles. Cameron placed 3rd in the 60-meter dash, winning a bronze medal. So I would like for you to give him a big applause. The thing I like most about Cameron is that he's very, very dedicated. He emerged on the team this year, and he had great leadership skills. He was always encouraging to the other athletes, always motivating them and cheering them on. And I was just really proud of him for the way that he exemplified leadership, discipline, and just being an all-around great athlete. So thank you so much to the Hoover Board for allowing us to be here and recognizing Cameron and all the great teams in the Hoover City Schools. Thank you.
Cameron, I feel so bad. So let's have your parents stand up and give his parents a round of applause so I can make up for forgetting. In the back, his parents. Okay, so now to the teachers in the trenches.
Well, and I'll say I met Cameron when he enrolled at Berry Middle School. Cameron and his mother, I knew that he was a special young man when I had the opportunity to meet him when he enrolled. Hello, my name is Chris Robbins, and one of the opportunities that I have here in Hoover City Schools is to serve on the Finley Character Committee. Our task is of course to promote character among our students and our teachers, and also recognize the greatness that we see going on in our schools each and every day. So before I introduce you to the winners, let me tell you just a little bit about the Teacher in the Trenches Award. We know that, especially over the last few years, we have seen our teachers constantly go above and beyond the call of duty in order to serve our Hoover City Schools students. The purpose of this award, it was created in order to recognize those efforts. In December, we had nomination forms that were sent out by our schools to our faculties and staff, asking our teachers to nominate their colleagues for this award. We received 54 nominations from our schools. We were able to select 3 teachers to receive this award, 1 from the elementary, 1 from the middle, and 1 from the high school. Just last month, we had the opportunity to recognize these teachers at a Character Awards breakfast, and I am pleased right now to have the opportunity to recognize these teachers in front of our board and our community. If you would please come forward when I call your name. From Trace Crossings Elementary School, Ashley Sparks. From Berry Middle School, Mr. Brian Wilson. And then finally, from Spain Park High School, Marianne Pledger. We know that the recognition of these 3 teachers, of course, represents the great things that we see going on across our district among many teachers. And certainly congratulations to these 3 teachers. And thank you so much on behalf of our board and our school district. Thank you for the many fine things that you do for our kids every day. Thank you.
All right, and finally tonight, the Hoover City Schools District's elementary and secondary teachers of the year for 2022 were announced back in December, and they will now represent Hoover in the 2022 Alabama Teacher of the Year competition. Ms. Weems and Mr. Montgomery, please come forward to recognize your teachers.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Fowler. It is my honor and my privilege to be able to introduce and to recognize Hoover City Schools Elementary School Teacher of the Year, Ms. Jerry Evans. Jerry Evans is the STEAM teacher at Bluff Park Elementary School. Jerry is passionate, she is innovative, and she is fearless in her approach to teaching. Her commitment to education is unmatched. Her enthusiasm is contagious. The thought that she will have the opportunity to share this with an even greater audience outside of Hoover City Schools is exciting. It's exactly what we need in education right now. So it is my honor and my privilege to recognize Ms. Jerry Evans as Hoover City Schools Elementary Teacher of the Year.
Hi, I'm John Montgomery from Hoover High School, and it's my honor today to introduce the High School Teacher of the Year from Hoover City Schools. First thing I'd like to kind of say to everybody is, when you're defining a great teacher, you think of somebody that knows their content. You think of somebody that's a great presenter. You think of somebody that's organized. Well, when I think of our Teacher of the Year, I think of all those things, but the most important thing that a teacher has to do is establish a relationship with kids. Kids will follow, but they want to know that you love them. And when you go into Paul McEwen's room, you can feel that, the kids can feel that, and it means a lot to them. It's special. And so when we were thinking about, who in our building would be a good nominee for this, he came to mind. He teaches biology for us, teaches AP biology, he teaches some 9th graders, some 11th graders, gets along great with the staff. I came here 10 years ago. One of the first people that came up to introduce himself was Paul McEwen. So without any other words, our Teacher of the Year, Paul McEwen.
y'all go take your pictures. This is amazing to me. I've said it before from this spot right here, holding this mic, that this is the best part of what we do as a board is get to recognize teachers and students every month. And the fact that we got to recognize a large group of you guys while a large group is here to watch is just wonderful. It just kind of lets us all understand why we have children in this school system and why it's so important. Coach Patterson, I don't know you, but when she introduced you, I remember your name. I got an email about you the second day of school from 2 parents that I didn't know about how you were out there greeting kids, making them feel comfortable, welcoming them to Bumpus. And I thought I would let you know that because I put 2 and 2 together. Thank you. All right, we are now moving on to the consent agenda. Dr. Fowler.
Thank you for your patience as we transition. Thank you, Ms. Tosley. Thank you, board. At this time, I would like to recommend items from the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of 6 items. The first item is a set of minutes, which was a regular meeting that was held January 13, 2022, and a special call board meeting that was conducted January 31st, 2022. The next item is a revision to a job description. The job description previously had been Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services. We are amending that job description to say the Chief Administrative Officer. There are several other changes that you will note, some additional responsibilities and duties that have been added to this. This is a position that has currently been on our books, but was entitled Assistant Superintendent, and now then it will be Chief Administrative Officer. The next is a job description. We have been blessed to have a retired person that has been filling in our finance office that has decided to retire completely, and God bless her. Hope she enjoys that. We will miss her, but in missing her, we will also have to fill a position Director of Finance, Assistant Director of Finance. The next item on the consent agenda is a change for our C&P managers. Currently, our C&P managers work 186 days. We're recommending that be changed to 189 days, just to allow them time in the summer, paid time in the summer to receive food, and also time for additional in-service activities. We're asking that this be moved up to 189 days. I will give you a point of reference. Vestavia is at 207, Homewood is at 207, Alabaster is at 190, Shelby County is at 190, Jefferson County is also at 190, and we're recommending that ours go up to 189, and that our assistant manager moved from 186 to 187 days. And board, as you know, this will not impact the budget, the general fund budget of Hoover City Schools. This will be paid from child nutrition funds. The next item on the consent agenda is to raise our substitute teacher pay. I won't go into great detail, seeing that this is a very popular item. The proposal is, and my recommendation to you, board, is to raise the pay to $100 a day for our substitute teachers. The last item on the consent agenda is regarding teams. And LEA teams, for those of you in the audience that may not know, the State Department of Alabama State Board of Education has entered into contracts with math and science teachers to give them additional money. And there are certain credentials that they have to have and requirements they have to make. We have a large number of teams teachers that teach in Hoover City, probably one of the largest in the state of Alabama. We have 2 additional names to add to that list, and board, I do recommend the adding of these 2 additional names. With that being said, I do recommend all the items that are on the consent agenda.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as recommended by Dr. Fowler? Do I have a second? Any questions or comments from the board? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Anyone opposed? The consent agenda is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosley, and thank you, board. The next items for your consideration are the personnel action items that you see listed before you. There's several items that are there. We're very fortunate that we have Mrs. Williams and Dr. Payne from our personnel office that are present with us today and will be able to answer any questions that you may have regarding the personnel actions. I do recommend their approval.
Do I have a motion to approve the personnel actions as recommended by the superintendent? Second? Any questions from the board? Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Personnel actions are approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosley. Thank you, board. Board, and an employee grievance has made its way through the administrative process and has been denied at that level. Under our policy, the employee has the right to appeal the decision. The appeal is before you, and you have been provided pertinent underlying information. Your options at this point are to reverse or modify the decision or to grant a hearing of the grievance before rendering a decision. Madam Chair, I yield to you for the purpose of entertaining any motion that may be made regarding the appeal.
Do I hear a motion to reverse or modify the decision or to grant the employee a hearing regarding her appeal? Hearing no motion, the superintendent's decision is affirmed and remains in effect as a matter of parliamentary procedure.
Thank you, Ms. Tosley. Thank you, board. At this time, I would like to call on our Chief School Financial Officer, Mrs. McKay, to come forward and present the business actions to you. Ms. McKay.
Good evening. I'd like to start with our payroll for January 2022 was $8,456,156.73. Cash disbursements for December 2021, $2,905,310.85. Board members, included in your packet is the summary and general purpose financial statements for the month ended December 31, 2021. For FY22, 26.09% of budget revenue has been received for the month ended December 31, 2021. December and January will see fluctuations in current year versus prior year revenues due to the timing of cash receipts around the holidays. The results of operations represent 3 months of activity. Accordingly, we would anticipate having spent approximately 25% of the budget for recurring expenditures. At this time, general fund expenditures are 23.79% of the budget. For the 3 months of activity, the current month's reserve is 8.24. This will continue to increase as the majority of our ad valorem tax collections are received October through March. Special revenue fund expenditures for 3 months of activity were $6.6 million, or 21.86% of the budget. Remember, the majority of federal funds are expensed during the school year, and requests for reimbursement occur a month in arrears. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McKay. Board, at this time, I do recommend approval of the business actions, the monthly financial statement, cash disbursements, and payroll as submitted to you by Ms. McKay.
Do I have a motion to approve the business actions as recommended by Dr. Fowler? Do I have a second? Any questions from the board? I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Business actions are approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosman. Thank you, board. The next 4 items are items that have to do with operations for our school district. The first item for your consideration is I would like to recommend approval of an engineering contract with Arlington Engineering to survey the proposed site for the Bluff Park Elementary School classroom addition.
Do I have a motion to approve the survey proposal for Bluff Park Elementary School classroom additions as recommended by Dr. Fowler? Do I have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Survey proposal is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tyson. Thank you, board. The next item is I would like to recommend approval of the proposal to provide subsurface exploration and geotechnical engineering evaluation for the classroom additions at Bluff Park Elementary School.
Do I have a motion to approve the subsurface exploration and geotechnical engineering evaluation proposal for Bluff Park Elementary School classroom additions as recommended by the superintendent? Do I have a second? Any questions from the board? Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? The proposal is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosman. Thank you, board. And I might add, with these 4 items, we're very fortunate that Mr. Matt Wilson is with us, who is our Director of Operations. Wes Wilbanks is his assistant, is also here, and I'm sure they would be more than willing and capable of answering the questions you have. The next item is I would like to recommend approval of a construction contract with Comfort Systems, and this is for a chiller replacement for Bluff Park Elementary School.
Do I have a motion to approve the contract for the fluid cooler replacement at Bluff Park Elementary School as recommended by the superintendent? Do I have a second? Any questions? Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? The contract is approved.
Thank you, Ms. Tosny, and thank you, board. The last item and the last operational item for your consideration, I would like to recommend that the Gwynn Elementary School HVAC replacement bid be rejected. And we're rejecting that bid on 2 grounds. Number 1, we only had 1 bidder. And number 2, it was well over $1 million over the budget. So my recommendation is to not to accept this bid and to reject this bid.
Do I have a motion to approve the recommendation made by Dr. Fowler to reject the bid for the HVAC replacement at Gwynn Elementary? Second? Any questions?
So will we just put this out to bid again, or we look at the budget first and kind of get a general idea if we're in the right ballpark? We anticipate we'll get better response?
Yes, the first thing that we will do is, and I've already spoken to Mr. Wilson regarding this, We will meet with our engineers and evaluate our budget. We do feel that the budget may need to be amended somewhat, but we don't believe that it was as high as this bidder appeared it to be. So we will revisit that with our engineers, come back to the board with budget suggestions, and then move forward.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? The rejection is approved.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move into superintendent reports. And at this time, I would like to ask the board's indulgence. When you approved the personnel actions, there were several things that I think are noteworthy, and I would certainly would like the public to know about this as well as the board. Of course, the board does know about it, but let that also be known. At this time, I'd like to ask our Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Ron Dotson, to come forward. He has 2 introductions that he would like to make.
I was greeted tonight by someone in the room who said, "Are you still here?" Yes, so I'm Ron Dodson, 3-time failed retiree. But we had 2 very difficult job searches in the past couple of months, and the board has approved persons in these positions. The first one I want to acknowledge is our Human Resources area. This is the Director of Human Resources, replacing Mary Beal, who recently retired successfully. The candidate, we had a very competitive position. We had over 33 applicants inside and outside the system. Made the choice extraordinarily difficult. It was an incredibly grueling process, but the candidate that was recommended and approved by the board tonight has been in our school system for 10 years, brings prior to that 20 years of experience in human resources, both in the public and private sector. And it is our own Christy Williams. Christy, would you please stand? Congratulations. Also, before you tonight was the position of principal of Berry Middle School. Dr. Robbins has been doing a marvelous job of running 2 very big jobs for the last few weeks, and so we had the task of replacing a very extraordinary principal in an extraordinary school. Again, a very competitive position. We had over 58 applicants, internal and external. Lots of extraordinarily qualified candidates made the committee's choice very, very difficult. But the person selected and approved by the board tonight has been in our district for 9 years, serving as an assistant principal and a principal in 2 different schools. Prior to that, 20 years of experience as an elementary music teacher, middle and high school band director, guidance counselor, and assistant principal. And the new principal of Berry Middle School, I'm proud to introduce tonight, Ms. Melissa Hatter. And yes, we realize that creates another problem, but we're very happy to have you in this position, Melissa. Good luck in the job. You too, Christy. Thank you. Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Dr. Dodson. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. John Montgomery, Mr. Andy Urban, if Andy is here, I know yes, there he is, to come forward to make a special presentation to you about a very special person we've hired in Hoover City.
I'm gonna let Andy talk about Coach Wood in just a second, because he knows her better than I do from knowing her through the years. But I want to say that we hired Coach Camper a few years ago, and when he came here, we said, Coach Camper, we need you to build up our girls volleyball team, and we want to win a state championship. And I got to give Coach Camper credit. He did just that. And so I don't want to put too much pressure on Coach Wood tonight, but we do have high expectations in Hoover City Schools and Hoover High School. And so we're so glad to have you here. I'm going to let Andy actually introduce you.
Coach Wood comes to us from James Clemens.
She's been the head coach there for 10 years. Actually met her through our EDS program through UAB. She's still going through to get her doctorate. When we're having an opening, we always search for the best candidate. We also search for a school board employee, someone who loves to teach, loves to coach, and hope that fit works perfectly. And it took some time. We don't have a teaching spot for her to start now, so she's gonna drive back and forth from Huntsville to coach our girls and build relationships with them. So we'll be ready to go in August when the season starts. But without further ado, Coach Amanda Wood.
Go Bucks. That was my first one. I'm very excited to be here. Like you said, I've been in Madison City for 10 years. Don't worry about the pressure. I put that pressure on myself already, so I'm not concerned with a little exterior pressure. I came to work. I'm very excited, and I cannot wait to get started. So, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Irvin. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Mr. Montgomery. At this time, I would like to ask our Chief School Financial Officer to come back to the podium. For those of you that don't know, we have been going through a financial audit, and I will ask Ms. McKay to give us more information about it.
Thank you very much. I'd actually like to welcome our auditors. Our auditors are from Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. We have Andrew Waits with us tonight, and we have Grant Shumpert, and I would love for them to tell you a little bit about our audit report.
Good evening, thank you, board. Thank you, Dr. Fowler, for having us here tonight. If you could pull out your package here, we're just going to briefly go over the audit this year for FY21, trying to make this as quick and easy as possible. The most important thing I'll say tonight is that the audit opinion was an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion. That's obviously the one that you're looking for. And so a lot of thanks goes to Michelle and her whole team for a lot of hard work that went into that. The next little tab that you'll see is financial statements. I'm just going to go over a couple of highlights compared to FY20. On page 5, you'll see the amount due from other governments at $7,265,878. That increased about $3 million from last year, primarily due to 2 reasons. The first one was an additional amount that's an appropriation from Jefferson County, as well as an increase due to CMP reimbursements. So obviously, when the school was back in session, we had more students participating in the child nutrition program, and there was also 2 months worth of reimbursements that were outstanding in September that were received after year end. If you flip over one more page to page 6, the accounts payable $2,166,000, that decreased $1.5 million. Those are timing differences due to purchases of equipment and construction related activity that were at the end of last year that were not applicable in FY21. Also, warrants payable a little bit farther down, $145,275,000, decreased about $10 million, mainly just due to the regularly scheduled principal payments as well as refunding that saved you some money during the year as well. Continuing on, we'll flip over a few more pages to page 7. And what this financial statement is it's the government-wide statement. So this is including all the revenues and expenses of the board. On the left side is the expenses, and then on the right side, you kind of go across each line, are revenues that are attributable to each one of those functions, such as instructional services, instructional support, and so forth. So as you see, the total expenses were $189 million this year. That increased $9 million, primarily due to a one-time raise that was given to employees. And as I mentioned before, with back in school and in-person increased costs just in general, as well as a lot of more purchased food and such like that increased CMP costs. Going over, you'll see the charges for services, operating grants, and capital grants and contributions. The charges for services were $10 million this year. That increased about $3 million this year due to the CMP reimbursements, as I mentioned before. A couple more pages over, you're going to see the fund financial statements. So this is something that you're probably more used to hearing about. This is a short-term focus as far as financial reporting goes. And this is what the budget you would be considering as far as the general fund budget as well. So on that, the same thing, we had $3 million increase in the receivables, and that's primarily the most significant thing of note on that statement. Finally, if you go over a couple more pages, you'll be on page 10. And it's also kind of a dual page statement. The most significant items here are the federal revenues. So if you go all the way over, it's a total for all the funds was $13,548,000. So that's an increase of $4.5 million, again, because of the child nutrition program and continued COVID-19 funding that we received during this year. Local revenues increased $1.5 million over FY20, primarily due to increases in sales of property taxes. And if you flip very back, all the way back to page 54, that's the schedule of expenditures and federal awards. And this is what you may hear the term single audit. That's the audit of compliance of federal awards. So there were two programs that were selected. The one up there near the top says Total Child Nutrition Cluster of $6 million. And then down there kind of in the middle, the ones that say COVID-19, those are the two programs that were audited, and there were no findings with either the single audit or the financial statement audit. I'm very happy to report. And that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
No, thank you very much. We appreciate the hard work that you did in auditing us. Seemed like y'all were regular employees there for a long time.
It does seem like that.
Yeah. But congratulations to Mrs. McKay and her team for the outstanding work of ensuring that our money is well spent and is spent legally and is spent to the betterment and the furtherance of education in the city. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. At this time, Board, I would like to ask Mr. Gary Wright from Volker Construction, Volker Construction Management to come forward. As you know, Board, we are in the process of getting the last plans, getting things ready for the Hoover High School Fine Arts Building. And so, Mr. Wright, if you'll give us an update on that, please.
Thank you, Dr. Fowler. Good evening, Board. I'm here to do the update on the Performing Arts Center. We finished schematic drawings on last month, and we submitted them, got approval from the state on January 28th. So those have been approved. We're now working on in the design development stage. We anticipate completion of that and submittal to the state end of March. So we're moving as scheduled. Also, we should be done with construction documents end of April. So we're still on schedule for that. End of May, by the end of May, we should have drawing approval for the construction documents. We should start advertising end of May, and we should be pre-qualifying general contractors in the month of May as well. And I think we also, Matt wanted to pre-qualify the major subs, normally electrical, mechanical, and roofing, and maybe plumbing. But we'll figure that out as we go along, which subs he wants to pre-qualify. But that's always a good thing to pre-qualify subs. We expect to have a pre-bid month of July and hopefully be under construction late July, early August. And we anticipate a 12 to 14 month construction period. And that should get us in the building November 2023. A couple things I want to point out. We're moving along with design. I don't know if you got the floor plan that I forwarded, but it's coming together. We're still at about 32,000 square feet. We're still around 930 seats. Those seats may vary, but it won't vary much. I mean, we may lose seats because of sight line or
size of the sound booth might cause us to lose seats, but as we nail these things down, some of those numbers will vary. So that 930 won't be exact, but we'll know for sure. And it won't change much, but I just want to let you guys know that those numbers are likely to change.
When you say not much,
Not much, no.
is that not much or is that?
Single digits. Yeah, I just don't want you to. No, it'll be it'll be over 900, should be. I don't expect it to get below 900. No. And we may even pick up seats. I'm just saying it may vary. And I'll update you as that moves along. The fly loft is coming together full fly loft. It'll be manually operated. Talked to a lighting consultant last week. They're on board. And so we should be moving forward with the lighting. That'll be a part of the general contractor's contract. So we're seeing the proscenium opening is 50 feet wide. And the proscenium is basically the frame around the stage as you're looking at the stage. So for those of you who don't know, but
You have a thing about the stage, like, is it not, was it 40 or 50 feet?
from the front of the stage to the back wall is 50 feet. It's actually 53 and some change.
Which is good, because we wanted to make sure that.
Right. From the proscenium, let's just say with the curtain closed, from the curtain to the back of the stage is 40 feet. And the wings on the stage, they're basically 20 feet, 10 inch on each side, yes. And unless you have any other questions, yes, Mr. Kelly.
Okay, are we on line with the bond money that this is, with the rules of the state? For those that didn't hear, Mr. Kelly asked if we were on a timeline, we were using some state money for this, and the answer was yes, we're on time with our state money, and we shouldn't, Ms. McKay replied that we should meet our deadline regarding the use of state money.
Thank
you.
Gary, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, and we look forward for this moving forward. Next item, board, is not a voting item. The next item is proposed policy revisions. As you know, board, the Alabama Association of School Boards sends us revised policies for us to consider. These policies have been vetted by the IAASB School Board Attorney, Mrs. Jane Williams, and also has been vetted through our attorneys, Bishop Coffin, Johnson, and Kent. Most notably, Melissa McKee has reviewed these and has made the recommendation that we consider these. As you know, with our policies, we do not, we have a policy reading, which we're doing today, and then at a later board meeting, I will make the recommendation unless board has problems with any of these policies. So at this time, we will let that sit, and we will move forward with our discussion of our mask mandate. One thing that I want you all to realize is tomorrow, I have already been given the numbers by our lead nurse, Ms. Julie Kent, and tomorrow, the number of kids for the past week that are positive with COVID will be 73, which is a half of a percentage point. We have been following this very closely over the last few weeks. Our numbers have dropped dramatically. When we initiated the matrix, one thing that we put in with the matrix was a 2-week variance so that we were not up and down. There is no need for that. I can tell you the numbers for the last month. 585 kids with COVID, 458 kids with COVID, 188 kids with COVID, 73 kids with COVID. So there's no doubt in my mind that our numbers are going down. I will say this, that there's a general fatigue in our schools with our school administrators trying to administer our masking policy. And with those things being said, I do not want to dominate this discussion. I will turn it over to you, Ms. Tosley, for board discussion, and then we will move accordingly.
Takers? Anyone? I mean, I'll go first, but.
I don't think it's any secret where I stand on masking in general and masking in schools specifically. I have been a strong exponent or against it since the very beginning for lots of reasons. And now it seems to me that as time has gone on, we've seen that even the strongest arguments for have fallen apart. The whole idea, the whole concept, the problem that always bothered me about this was there's so little benefit known to these kids wearing these masks. But the risks and the harms that can be done far outweigh that. On top of the fact that I felt like we were taking the place of the parent and making medical decisions for these children. Our state and local health officials even recommended it, but we were willing to go a little bit further. And I think taking a step back gets us right in line with where they've been. So I don't think we're violating anybody's harm in doing it that way. I actually want to add one other thing to this as I think about all this. I was in an elementary school last week, and I've all along, I've said it to many of you, I've been very concerned about our little folks. I think of all of them, it was worse for them. And I saw it, and I saw it again, and again, it just reinforced in me that it is time that we go in a different direction here. I would love them to have a sense of normalcy as much as possible, beyond even optional masking. Parents want to put a mask on their child. I think they should have the right to do that, and we should respect that. But I'd love to see these kids be able to go to dances and be able to go on field trips, have parents in the classrooms helping the teachers. I'd love to see them. I used to love going to lunch at the elementary school until they got too cool to have me there. But I think we owe it to the kids this time. I really do. Thanks.
Sure. Awesome. I don't disagree with what you've said about the kids and getting back to some sense of normalcy. And, you know, as a public health person, I'm also aware of outside influences and things that may happen. And so I feel, I don't think we need to rehash that entire conversation again. We've been through it many times. I feel, though, that we have lived up to the spirit of what we tried to do with coming up with a metric and a way to determine, you know, how do we make this decision? I don't think we need to be held hostage to this 1%. I really don't. We've looked over, we've had over the last 3 weeks, a 30% decline, a 60% decline, and another 60% decline given these numbers. So I'm fine with dropping it at this point.
I'm just gonna say one thing. I have 3 kids, and one graduates from college in May, who is gonna be a teacher, and one is a teacher right now. She teaches 3rd grade. I went to her classroom, 3rd grade classroom last week, to help them catch up because their last normal year was when they were in kindergarten. And it really made me sad because they struggled with what the E sound was and the I sound was, and it just made me really sad. I've always said, I don't think that's our job to tell. I just don't think it should have been put on us. Now it was. I mean, I can't help that the whole nation put it on each school board. But I think that to not change as we go along is not smart. I think you've got to be willing to be a leader and change when it's time to change something. And we're volunteers. We were put in this position to change when it needs to be changed and do what we need to do. And I've never understood, let's put our children in masks and take them off at 3 o'clock every day and everybody do what they want to, and then the next morning let's put it back on. It's not logical to me. It doesn't make sense. So I haven't changed. That's where I've always been. I just wanted to say I just think everybody's tired. I think everybody's tired.
Correct, you good?
Thank you, Board. I've certainly heard what you've said. I would like to make a recommendation at this time, but I do want to say initially that the recommendation that we make will not change the federal law for transportation. The school bus, we do not have an option to do that. We can't change federal guidelines. So the masking would stay in effect for transportation. And also, people coming off quarantine. We in our district have adopted the open school policy of saying that if a person has tested positive for COVID, that's day 0. Then 5 days after that, if they are not showing symptoms, they may return to school, but wear a well-fitting mask. And those are things that I think that it is in our best interest to make sure that we do that. With those 2 exceptions, I would like to make the following recommendation. I recommend that the mask mandate approved September 14, 2021 be repealed, and that the masking in Hoover City schools becomes optional tomorrow, February 9th. Furthermore, I recommend that I be given reasonable flexibility to take appropriate action by targeting responses for individual schools and singular groups within a school as circumstances change in a manner that is unique to the circumstance. This action is subject to future revision as circumstances evolve. And if I may, Board, to explain what I am thinking on that second part, I'm saying that one size does not fit all. If we have a hot spot, then I think we should respond accordingly, whether that means sending a 2nd grade class home for a few days, whether it means masking with a special group, or whatever that may mean, and not to act as an overlord or to be overbearing, but to be cognizant of what is happening, and that one size does not fit all, but trying to target hotspots within the district. If I may, I'll read the recommendation one more time, and this will be my recommendation. I recommend that the mask mandate approved September 14, 2021 be repealed, and that masking in Hoover City schools become optional February 9, 2022. Furthermore, I recommend that I be given reasonable flexibility to take appropriate action by targeting responses for individual schools and singular groups within a school as circumstances change in a manner that is unique to the circumstance. This action is subject to further revision as circumstances evolve. That is my recommendation.
Do I have a motion to approve the recommendation made by the superintendent? Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The recommendation to approve the superintendent's recommendation on mask is approved. Our next meeting, a regular scheduled board meeting will be March the 8th, at 5:30. We're open to public comment if somebody really. Oh, Steve McClinton goes first. Sorry, I told him he could.
As you know, my name is Steve McClinton. I serve on the Hoover City Council, and I also chair the Education Committee, which appoints you lovely people to this fun position. So we will be taking an application process for a Board of Education slot to reapply or apply from March 1st through 18th. You go on the city website's portal. You'll be able on March 1st. It's a very easy process. From that, we'll take applicants, and we'll probably the first week of April have interviews, and then on April 18th at the council meeting, the Education Committee will make the recommendation. So that's all. Oh, one more thing. So when our committee, my first time ever was to appoint somebody, and our committee appointed Mr. Paquette, I might have told him, I said, this is an easy thing. No one's gonna bother you or email you or ever call you. And his wife won't look at me today, so thank y'all.
My name is Clint Burchett. I have two boys. One at South Shades, one at Brock Scout. I don't have a lot to say, but I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. Many of you who know me know I work in cybersecurity. I have contacts on 5 or 6 continents around the world. And I've never judged anyone for their making decisions in their heart, regardless of where they stand, be it in board, in a business occasion, or anywhere politically or otherwise, spiritually, you name it. I'm glad we're moving this direction. So thank you, board. I appreciate that. A conversation a couple weeks ago, what was called a gentleman, Peter. He's Russian, he lives just outside of Moscow. He and I have known each other for a better part of a decade. We fought for our countries, we both bleed red, white, and blue in different ways. At our core, we're pretty similar. We're both in faith. We submit to God ourselves. We're fathers. We have mothers who are very demanding. And we got to talk about our kids. His boys are 1 year younger than mine, respectively. He has a 2-year-old daughter, and I have a child on the way. And it struck me as odd as being a man, years older than me, a very similar life situation on the other side of the world. He said, when we're talking about our kids, I asked, how's COVID? How's masking? How's the culture? How are you holding up? How is your wife holding up? How are your kids? And one of the things he said to me was, in Russia, we don't fear COVID. Okay, we fear the cold. Fair. But the next thing he said marked me as asking, our conversations were always huddled around, what is Russia doing? Weird, W-I-R-D. And it brought to me, what are we doing? He said, in Russia, we are a free people. The government would not dare try, I'm paraphrasing, would not dare try to put us under COVID regulations at this point because they wouldn't succeed. Somehow in this country, we have become less free, even in our own community, with our children who cannot speak for themselves, and children who live in the epicenter of an authoritative dictator in the heartbeat of communism. I think this is the right move. And I would ask us as we go forward, when these issues come up again, we ask ourselves, what are we doing? How are we mitigating the risk that we're trying to mitigate? Who's paying the costs and what is the return on that decision? I have no hard feelings on any decisions made one way or the other. I just hope we ask going forward, what are we doing? And we weigh that using metrics that aren't just arbitrary or made up. I think we need a plan going forward, not just for today, but for when issues like this come up, when we have staffing issues, when we have to shut schools down selectively, when we have to mask or unmask, when we have to make these hard decisions. So I commend all of you for voting your hearts, and hopefully we can move forward and do better, whatever that is. Thank you.
My name is Timothy Casebolt. I've got 3 children, one in Hoover City Schools. I want to tell him thank you for echoing and Honestly, I let him go first, but he kind of stole a lot of what I was going to say. Thank you all for listening. I know that all of you are making decisions based on what you feel is right in your heart. And I want to echo what he said. I don't fault anybody for making the decision that they feel is right. Just like I'm going to make the decision that I feel is right for my child, right? We're all going to do that. At the end of the day, I think all of us here, regardless of what you think, where you are, we all want the same thing. We all want our children to thrive and be successful and for Hoover to be great, right? Okay, so I don't fault any of that. I agree 100% with him. We need a plan going forward, and that plan needs to start with, why are we doing what we're doing? And are we looking at just arbitrary metrics? Are we using KPIs like 60 years old, 6 feet, 3 feet, 5 days, 10 days? Oh, we got to wear a mask. It's a well-fitted mask. I work in areas where I have to wear a well-fitted mask. I don't work in those areas now because of this. There is only 2 types of masks that will protect you from anything like that. And you don't just wear a mask. You cover your entire face, your entire body. You tape off every single thing. Amy, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those are the only 2 that protect you 100%. That's it. Anything that's aerosolized can come in your eyes, your nose, your mouth, any mucous membrane. So again, I would plead with y'all to, in your work session going forward, have a plan. I agree with Dr. Fowler, having the ability to make these decisions and not just broadcast for all of Hoover, because Hoover's huge. We have a tremendous amount of schools. But what does that plan consist of? And I would hope that those plans are not just arbitrary numbers and arbitrary distances. And, what are we doing here? And I also would hope and plead with y'all, don't put our children in any sort of face coverings ever again. If they need to go home, let's send them home for 3 days. We have a problem with getting subs, problem solved. Send our children home, let them learn virtually, give them work packets just like when they go home over the holidays. Please don't ever put them in anything on their face ever again. It has caused a tremendous amount of psychological damage to our children, to my 7-year-old, who has said repeatedly he doesn't want to go to school, and he loves school. He's a straight A student. He doesn't want to go to school because he gets harassed. So thank you for making this change, and I hope going forward, y'all will look at those. Thank you for my time.